All right, checking on. First person who says I can hear you gets a shout out in the chat, or is it silent? Hmm. Hmm. Let me Carm. Here we go. Let's Carmine in here. How you doing? Can you hear me?
Yes. Check to see if you're on your Yeti instead of your laptop mic.
Yeah, I'm on my Yeti. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Man, oh man. You see, mic bad. No, I fixed all that. Okay. We were having some technical difficulties before the show, and so everything is fine now. So, Carmine, how are you, man?
that fucking uh, that fucking shot. It looks again because we've seen the episodes already. It's weird seeing it in like 4K definition. You know.
Oh, oh, are you talking? You're talking specifically Arlen's cock. That's the thing. I mean,
Dude.
the fact that like
Uh,
we got the shit episode and the dick episode, right? Like
mm,
like it's very difficult. It's funny that like the episode can be very good, just like I think the first episode was very good, but because the scene is so salient, it's so over the top that it's hard to even focus on anything else other than the fact that this is like it started with a massive dick for no fucking reason. Like a dick like look, and I got no problem with dicks all day long, but like it's a fake dick that went down to his fucking knee. Like it went down to his fucking knees. Okay, like what
I sent
human
you.
being?
I sent you the meme that I put on Twitter that's been making the rounds. You want to put it up maybe? You've seen this meme before, the Defoe meme.
Let me see here. Um. Oh
It's
yeah,
so good. It's so good.
yeah, yeah. So what he sent me was this.
That's
Um.
been literally everyone who watched the episode last night. Did you see what Ira Parker said about why he did it?
Oh no! So another fucking Hollywood Reporter article about why the fuck he ruins his episodes with like shit and dicks.
He said something along the lines like, "I did it because the entire episode, Sir Arlen's getting shit on, so we had to give him at least something." It was something in that realm, and then he said like, "I also don't recall if we gave him a prosthetic or not." Like,
You
okay,
couldn't recall. Like no human being.
he's
Like
joking.
first of all, like it. God, the scene was horrible, and I don't even be like even beyond the fact that like the cock is just way too fucking big, like way past realistic dicks. But also like the way he grabs it is just like not how someone would pee. Like it's not how like one would grab their dick when they pee. Um it's just like he kind of like grabs it and then like the stream kind of pours out, it dribbles out, it doesn't like shoot out like a normal pee stream. Like everything was just kind of fucking off about it. And you're just like, why am I watching an old man with a fake dick like have a hose go through his dick? Like pouring water on the ground. Not shooting water like a urination, pouring water. It was it just overshadows the whole fucking episode. Yes.
Unlike the shitgate, there's no interpretation for this. Everyone just all agrees like this is what is this? I wonder if George R. R. Martin is sitting there going, I'm gonna have to write another blog post one day.
Yeah,
Did
it's
George
really
approve
it's
this?
really weird. Now, beyond that, um I love a good framing device. I love framing devices. I think framing devices are fun, but the framing device made no sense. Because you're like, are you telling this story to Tyrell at the time, because like he's going through and he's talking about like who Sir Arlen was, and then he's like he wasn't a great fighter, and but he had a really good heart. And you're like, why would you be telling them that? You should be telling him like you worked in his service. This is what he did. So the framing device like doesn't really make any sense. I mean, I think like watching it the first time, I was like, oh, it's a nice little framing device. But like, why would he be telling this story to Tyrell about how he wasn't a great fighter and he was a little crazy and stuff like that? And he's not even telling it to Tyrell, because at some point he says, Lord Hayford, Lord Florent, and then he says Lord Tyrell, and then they flash to Lord Tyrell as if like he's told the same story to Hayford and Florent. I mean, I appreciate it's actually a plot hole from the books that they've plugged, but they created a new plot hole with it. Because in the books, it's very clear that Arlen has worked for Tyrell, Florent, and other people that are at the tourney. And Dunk doesn't bother visiting those other houses. He just goes to Dondarrion. And so the question is like, why didn't he try these other people that Sir Arlen worked for? And it's just it's a small little plot hole in the short story. So they've actually plugged that short story, that plot hole for the show, by having him visit the other houses and having them all say no. But at the same time, like, Lionel Baratheon exists, and there's no reason to visit these dudes when Lionel Baratheon exists. So, yeah.
Someone in the stream chat said, Mr. Fabio, he goes, I think Dunk not asking Lionel to vouch for him makes sense as a testament to Dunk's good character and honesty, since Lionel didn't know Arlen, so it'd be a lie. So he's just going to everyone who he felt might have known Arlen.
But that's not what he needs to do. He just needs a lord to vouch for him. I mean, I get that if that was the established thing, that he needs somebody to remember Sir Arlen. But the thing is that like that doesn't even make sense. Like, somebody recognizing Sir Arlen does not establish that Dunk is a knight. Right? So like that's the breakdown in the logic. Like, even if Manfred were like, yeah, I remember Sir Arlen. Sir Arlen was a great dude, but I have no idea if he knighted you. Who the fuck are you? You know? So like, Lionel makes more sense because Lionel can actually vouch for him. Like, who cares about Sir Arlen? It also, like, there's a departure from the short story in that Dunk purposely goes to the target boldly, out of character. Dunk decides to track down the Targaryens and like ask Baelor. Like, that's his mission when he goes in, which is really weird actually, because it's completely not in Dunk's personality. In the short story, Dunk stumbles into the Targaryens. Dunk is going to go find Plummer again and say, I'm sorry, I couldn't find Manfred. And he goes to find Plummer, and the Targaryens happen to be there. And he's like, oh shit, I didn't even realize the Targaryens were supposed to be here. I wouldn't have walked in the room had I known. Here in the show, he sees the Targaryens riding through, and he literally says to Egg, I have an idea. And he goes off to find him, and he walks right into the fucking castle. And then he sneaks in there and spies, and then like walks into their council chamber quite boldly. Which I can't, would anyone do that? Like, would anyone do that? Seems like you'd be stopped by a guard or killed if you try to like just like walk into a castle and then
that's actually that's kind of another plot hole in the sense that there are no guards at the door, like to make sure that.
And like Gwen is right there. She's just like talking to him, like who's this guy? That guy could be a cat spa murderer. You have no fucking clue who he is. He's just in your fucking castle, and she's sitting there, you know, telling him about the prince is missing, Daron and Egg missing, and stuff like that. So it's pretty funny. I mean, you know, as you watch it, it's like none of this is apparent. These are like what they say, that the ham sandwich moments. Like that doesn't make sense, but been sick for like 6 weeks, man. 6 weeks. Maybe Dunk has low self-esteem. The problem is that Dunk does have low self-esteem, and he shouldn't be like, I have an idea. I'm going to walk straight into fucking Ashford Castle and approach the hand of the king and heir to the Iron Throne and ask them about my chances to enter the fucking tourney as a hedge knight. Like, no one would fucking do that. No one would do that. Get yourself
Did you catch
killed.
the disrespect on Makar, by the way?
Yeah. That's also
The
weird because
announcer?
they pulled the Jon Snow King in the North thing, right?
What do you mean?
Well, you remember when Daenerys, they're like, this is Daenerys Stormborn, breaker of chains, queen of the first men, the Rhoynar and the Andals, like queen of the Khaleesi and the Greygrass Sea, and they go on all the titles. And then Davos goes, this is Jon Snow. He's king in the North. And you're supposed to laugh because he doesn't have that many titles. And so they're like, all these titles for Baelor. And then they're like, and Maekar.
I mean, he technically does have titles. It's
he's
just
got he's Lord of Summerhall.
Jon Snow.
Oh,
I'm talking about
Maekar.
talking about Jon Snow.
Right. Well, Jon Snow definitely has. They would be like King in the North, Lord of Winterfell, like whatever.
The White
like,
Wolf, the Breaker of the
Wolf.
Boltons, the Freer of the Freedmen. Like
there's a million titles you could give him. But yeah, no, they stripped it for the joke. The same with Maekar. Like he's Summerhall. He's the Lord of Summerhall, or Prince of Summerhall. I'm sorry, but so he should have that title, but
and his brother
Maekar.
Don't even say his name right away.
Regarding Daniel Ings, I first encountered him in a Netflix show called The Gentleman. Highly recommend if you haven't seen it. I enjoy Night of the Seven Kingdoms so far. Yeah, Night of the Seven Kingdoms is pretty good. I watched the short clip of Daniel Ings like dressed as the chicken, where he has to pretend to be a chicken, and the guy's trying to humiliate him, and until he breaks. And stuff like that. It's very different, very, very different kind of character than Lionel, obviously. But yeah, it's kind of that was the one clip I saw of The Gentleman. Yeah. But Gwen making him flinch was great. I'm fine with Gwen. I mean, Gwen needed some time. We needed some other people with some lines in there. But it is really weird that Dunk just like walks into the fucking castle. Yeah, the other thing I had was just like the random insults. You know, like the guy with the horse that's like, "Are you Baelor Targaryen?" And he's like, "No." And he's like, "Then get the fuck out of the way." He's like, He wasn't even blocking him. He wasn't even fucking blocking. He wasn't even in his fucking way. You know. Or like he like taps the little person and is like, "Hey, who's coming?" And he's like, he's like, "Look at the banners, you giant cunt." And you're like, "There's no banners, okay? They haven't rode out of the forest yet, okay? Why are you calling me a giant cunt? Like that's a bit much. You guys are dicks." Yeah, it makes more sense. It would make more sense if Dunk asked the guard where Plumber is and told him it was the Great Hall. But he doesn't. But yeah, but it's very clear that he has an idea he tells Egg, I have an idea, and he goes off because I think he wants to run into Baelor and ask him about the tourney at Storm's End where they broke 7 lances. We got Tansel not tall enough, Duncan the kind of big, and Arlen too small. Is the girl who talked to Duncan in the castle Lord Ashford's daughter? Yes, Lord.
Yes.
They gave her a name in the original short story. They don't give Lord Ashford's daughter a name, but they've given her a name in the show. They've given Gwen and given her even some lines, which is, I think, good, considering that they're all supposed to be fighting for her. They're supposed to be fighting for her honor. The fact that she's not more of a character is the whole tourney is for her. Like she should have a role, and we should know who she is and stuff like that. To enjoy Egg's modern day emoting. Egg first of all is a million times better acting in this episode than the first episode. He is 100 just more than 100% improved. He is just, I don't know, 5 times better.
So you
so much
say
better.
this, but like, keep in mind that Egg only had like 3 minutes of screen time, maybe in the first episode, and it was him not really knowing Dunk that well. So he's kind of playing like an awkward kid who doesn't really know this guy that well. Now that they're getting to spend time together, he's more comfortable. So I can't really say Egg was a bad actor. The kid Dexter Ansel, can't really say he was a bad actor since he didn't really have that much screen time. But you're right. Like I with kid actors, it's usually the roll of a die, like, or a flip of a coin. They're either fairly good or really bad.
No, I just think he delivered each of the lines in the first episode wrong. Maybe that's just it. He just made a bad artistic choice, but he was just so much better. It was just night and day. It was like I was watching two different kids. He was just so much better in this episode. So now, the little person was a really bad actor, but look at the banners, cunt. Look at the banners, you Johnny cunt. Like, oh, really? You went with that take. First take.
Are we gonna go over scene by scene like last time, or what do you want to do?
Yeah, I guess so. Let me see here. Okay. So we've already talked about the beginning and the framing. Hold on a second. Let me just make sure I'm on the hard salt beef. So the episode is called Hard Salt Beef. I imagine, it begins with you're supposed to be thinking of the tree, I guess, that he and Arlen share in the rain, where they both just start laughing for no reason. And you're supposed to think of it as an emotional moment for them. Arlen gets a wound. It's very clear that he's dying of his wound. And then I'm going to bring up, since we already got to, this is the hard salt beef scene. Like I say, these were, they're really well filmed scenes. And I am a sucker for framing devices and stuff like that, even if it didn't make any sense. It was fun seeing little scenes of them on the road. And
if there's one thing this show is doing very well over the source material, it's giving you like a very good idea of how close Dunk and Arlen was. I love that. That's so
yeah. Cool. And I do have to say, like considering that Dunk has no lines, you get so much out of him just with looks in the framing. So I do, bravo.
That's actually true, and I think it's true. There's obviously going to be more flashback scenes, and I think it's true for the other flashback scenes too. Huh. That's a very good point. I didn't realize that until you just pointed it out. But it's mostly Sir Arlen basically going,
Right. There's
like he's drunk
very little
Gandalf.
dialogue between Dunk and Sir Arlen, but Dunk is able to communicate a lot of like love and caring and things like that for him. And so I'd say that that's it's a very, very good job.
You know what it is? He's the ultimate pupil in the sense where like he's not talking back. He's literally
Yeah.
listening and watching and learning as much as he can.
We got to remember that this actor was so good they chose to go with him despite him being too short. That's really the
Oh boy. Oh boy.
right.
Well, here's the thing. What's funny is, again, like all these idiots were like complaining, like he's not too short. You guys are nitpicking. George R. R. Martin himself, thank you to Trey.
Yeah.
George R. R. Martin himself said Peter Claffey is not the right.
No,
height.
no. I mean that's the funny thing is that like despite his name being Duncan the Tall, I think Dunk being tall is not actually that important in the story. I'm sure George R. R. Martin would absolutely disagree with me on that point, but I don't think it's that relevant that Dunk is tall. He has a lot of personality by himself.
By the way, you just mentioned it, and again, it's weird to think about it, but George still has not put out a blog post on Dunk and Egg yet. We're 2 episodes in and nothing. Someone made a prediction here. I sent it to you a while back, but someone made a prediction that George would not say anything about Dunk and Egg until after the show is over. And I think that might be right. New Year, not a
really
blog
busy.
comes out.
I mean, it's been again. He hasn't written a blog post since October, so it's been a
Busy
long time.
with what? The premiere is over. What is he doing? Unless he's writing wins, he's too busy.
You don't know what people got going on in their life, man.
I
you
guess.
have no idea what's going on in his life. So, he could there could be a water break at his house, and then there's like flooding, and he's got to like fucking like hire the people to come in with like fans and dehumidifiers. Well, it's Santa Fe, probably not, but
That's
like
an oddly specific thing to say. What the fuck?
just saying, there are random fucking things that like take a lot of time out of people's lives that just fucking happen. Somebody gets the flu. There's a leak in the roof. A lot of things that can happen to people that just eat up a lot of fucking time. The HVAC's break.
Is your HVAC break? What's happening? What's going on?
These things, man, you've no clue. Like living life is hard. Living life, it's just got a lot of things that eat up time, man. What do you think about this added scene of Egg being like, "Why do you think these lords are your better?" Do you think it's it's odd his advice because he's like, "Oh, just fucking go in. Who cares if you're in the tourney or not? Just fucking go into the tourney and fucking knock Tyrell on his ass." And you're like, he literally can't do that. like it's such a weird kind of thing, but
that is a weird line. Like, they're literally you're posing as a peasant, so they technically are your betters technically. So
right,
they give you work.
Okay, so then we got okay, and I'll bring up this dwarf, the dwarf scene.
Preston is obsessed with this fucking guy. Whoever this guy is.
He's such a bad actor. I mean, how did they get this guy? I'm just saying. Here, I got him. Here's the thing, is in the little person community, obviously like little people all like, because, well, there's a lot of things. One, like if you're a little person, it's hard to do a lot of other jobs. But like, the most famous little people are actors. And so it's like little people want to go into acting. I've seen little people talk about this in interviews all the time. I just kind of feel like there must be like a whole slew of really good actor little people, and this guy sucked. He had one fucking line, and
Impressive.
he
He had
says it
one line.
the worst.
He had one line. Come on, leave the guy alone.
Like where the batters, you fuck you giant cunt. Uh,
I'm honestly surprised the dwarf wasn't naked because this is Ira Parker. I'm
yeah, I
surprised he's not
know,
naked and farting and shitting all
but
over the
it's
place.
like and then he's like, look, banners like they were in the forest. They literally like come out of the forest like right afterwards, and he's like, what are you fucking talking about? Well, there it goes. Um. So yeah, he says, I've got an idea, and he runs off, and he's like, they do the dog scene, and then we get our introduction to oh they try to make Dunk look like he's good with horses because he goes in there, the Targaryens walk by, and I'm surprised that like a lot of people aren't crowding around. If any Tom, Dick, and Harry can like run into the castle to get a view of the royalty, wouldn't everybody?
There
Dunk is
is
it.
one weird contradiction with this scene specifically when the Targaryens arrive, considering what
Yeah.
happens in episode 3. I won't spoil it, but when the
Mm.
Targaryens come, the crowd claps like, "Oh, it's the Targaryens!" Oh,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
we even see in the preview that the small folk are rioting, and yeah, like it starts to this episode starts to look weird in the context of seeing episode 3. And it's not a major spoiler, so I won't go into it. But the small folk should really not like the Targaryens. So I don't understand why everyone's clapping. That's the one like nitpick I would say about this scene you're talking about. Not the little guy.
I mean, maybe small folk. They hate themselves like everybody else. So you know, it's like same in America when people are like, "Oh, you're cutting my health care, yay!" Like how can how can I be angry at the small folk for liking the Targaryens? Anyway, this is our Lord Ashford's daughter Gwen, who this is all for. So the trying to think of
Did you
what other.
notice her brother, by the way?
She has a brother.
Yes. He becomes somewhat important in a weird plumber plot for episode 3, but he's in that scene as well.
Oh, interesting.
Long
Okay.
hair. You want me to take a
Okay.
screenshot and send it to you?
Oh, that's okay. I
It's a
believe you.
blink. It's a
It's
blink
okay.
and you'll miss it, but he's there. He has like the really cool Ashford jousting armor.
Okay. There she is. They gave her some lines. Good old Gwen. Um, Probably a coincidence that if you're thinking like, oh, Gwen, that's like the character from Dying of the Light or something like that, or that's Gwendolyn Christie or something like that. That's probably all just by chance because the name Gwen is common enough. Um, we get introduced to Arian Brightflame, who I have to say he having seen this scene now a few times, he's actually kind of cool in this scene. I mean, obviously he's horrible later, but in the original short story, you think of him as being this like horrible dick. Who, and in this, he's just kind of subtle, and he's like, yeah, can you take my horse? And he's like, rather calm. And Dunk's like, I'm not a horse, I'm not a serving man. And he's like, well, then give me some wine. Or, I'm not a horse, I'm not a stable boy. And he's like, okay, give me some wine. He's like, I'm not a serving man. And he's like, okay. He gives the insult of like, nice ship has gone on hard times, but it's not so.
There's just something about the short white hair. I don't know.
Yeah.
I liked it better when Damon had short white hair, but not a big fan of the long one.
Um. Oh yeah. So this is one of these blink and you'll miss it kind of things, but like Dunk comes over and wants to tame this horse, but then they yeah. Um, and then there we go. Yeah. So yeah, this is one of these minor continuity things, but he he takes this horse by the reins, and but then in the next scene, it's by a rope connected to like a harness around his head, and it's like that's inconsistent. Wait, actually, did he take off that? How much time has gone by? And he took off his head armor too. Took off his head armor, put on like a full headgear and rope. Huh. Weird. Because they just transition it as if he's just like bringing it into the stables. Oh well. Oh well. Very minor
Wait.
thing.
What are you saying? The headgear is still on when he brings it into the barn.
Okay. No. What I'm talking about is I guess so here's what I'm talking about with horses. um when you ride horses, there is a bit that goes into the mouth behind the teeth, okay? And then your harness is attached to the bit. And so that allows you to pull the horse's head back and forth in a, once many would argue, cruel fashion in order to get the horse to change its head direction, which allows you to change the direction of the horse. Okay? Now, when you're dealing with just like a horse around the stable and you want to like lead it somewhere, you shouldn't really be using the reins because you're janking, you're pulling it by the bit, and you're pulling it by his mouth, right, by his teeth, right? So a lot of times you could have like a head harness kind of aspect. That's this green thing here, and then there's a proper rope, and that the head harness will attach underneath. Okay. And so this is why in my criticism video, he's got his horses like tied up, and one of the horses is tied up by the rein, like to his bit, and, which is like pretty fucking cruel. Like you're not supposed to do that for a horse, because if it's tied up by the fucking mouth, by the bit, if he like panics, he's all of a sudden janking himself in the fucking teeth. While if it's by, the headgear, he like stops. So there's actually a scene where they tied up the horse wrong in the first episode. It's kind of cruel. Additionally, like I was saying, he was also bringing the horses around. Like all three of them had bits in their mouths for no reason. Like you only need the bit on the one you're riding. So going from the scenes,
the previous scene, the little rope, around his nose. Yes, yeah.
So it just like it comes out of nowhere. They go straight from him taking it by the reins, which is going to be attached to his mouth and the bit, to all of a sudden you can see the head thing is not there, and there it is. It's all of a sudden on. So they've gone from.
I thought you were talking about the head armor. No.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry. Anyway, and like I say, minor point, but it's at least it's just a small continuity thing. Though there's a lot of weirdness in the horses. Like I understand why. Like they're probably doing it like why they have all the bits in at all times. They probably have horse trainers who like come out there and like get on and ride the horses off or whatever, get them out of scene, bring them back into scene. Like you don't want the horse in the scene the whole time. Everybody's getting prepared. They get the cameras ready and then they're probably like, ride the horses out. And then they ride them out and then they're like, let's do the scene. You know, that's probably why all the horses have bits in their mouths, but when they don't necessarily need to be and things like that. But now we get to the Duskendale discussion.
The Nepo baby.
Yeah, you know, so here they do a better job than the short story. The short story, they're just like they just have a conversation with Dunk and they're like, no problem, you're a knight just like us. In the here they actually have reason. They're like, where can we take a shit? Which I'm fine, which is I guess like I'm fine. That makes more sense than actually the short story. I think the Crabber Nepo baby thing is a hilarious joke. I think that's a really funny joke. I'll give him that. The fact that like the whole episode Dunk is like, Donald of Duskendale, he's like a poor guy. And it's like, no, he's from like a super rich family. Yeah. So
Honestly, I'm surprised. I don't have a problem with the continuity in regards to the Kingsguard armor, but man, this one just looks way fucking better. A tad bit better than the one in House of the Dragon, but leagues better than the one in Game of Thrones. Holy fuck. It's so like accurate and everything. Like I'm sure George R. R. Martin's ecstatic with the Kingsguard armor, but I know he doesn't live for that. He likes the banners and heraldry.
It's funny. Is Preston a horse guy? Preston is a horse girl. I rode horses a lot when I was young. So a lot of it is forgotten. But
Really? You rode horses, or did your horse ride you? Haha, it's the joke from.
When I heard that, I was like, "Are you saying that the horse was fucking me? What was this? Oh, because it's so big that the horse would ride me." Yeah, no, I rode horses a lot. I mean, I went to summer camp and I rode horses every summer and stuff like that. But it's not like I had like a stable or anything like that, or didn't go out on the weekends or whatever. Like no, it was just like camp. I went to camp and there's horseback riding, and I did a lot of horseback riding like every summer. But but Trey has begun riding horses a bit. So a lot of times I like something will hit me wrong and I want to check it. So I'll like ask Trey and I'd be like, is this seems off to me. Is this? And he's like, oh yeah, no, you're right. Like they should not have bits in their mouths. That's ridiculous. Like, what are they doing?
Preston's family owns all the crabbing in Baltimore. You know what? Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, the Kingsguard said the same shit to Dunk, even though he's not that much shorter. Godsman, do you ride your horse into battle? Does your horse ride you? Like, you're not that much shorter than he is. And the guy goes, sorry, it's not often he has to look up when he's trying to look down at someone. It's like, great line, but like, he's not that much shorter than you.
Yeah, so this
I agree with you.
I'm
this
just
was
like,
stupid.
Yeah, I mean, he's clearly not in the fucking way. Like, you could just fucking go right, or you've got all this fucking room to the left of him. Like, what the hell? What a fucking dick. What a dick.
I don't understand that scene. Was that for the trailers? Like, was that supposed to be like a funny thing? Because a lot of
it was in the trailers, right?
It's, are you Baelor Targaryen? Like, do casuals even know who Baelor was at the time? Like, does it matter?
Right. Yeah. So then Dunk just fucking straight up sneaks into the castle, and then we get, let's see, hold on. Starts listening to them talk, and then is Gwen...
I'm honestly surprised, by the way, real quick. I'm honestly surprised you didn't show... because you were ever since you pointed out like the way they have the actor positioned to make everyone seem shorter than him. I'm
Yeah.
surprised you didn't point out the fucking Kingsguard, how they're standing and
Oh,
how
so
like their
far away.
position, they're standing so far away from each other, which is fine, but like you can clearly tell that he's actually not that much shorter than Peter Claffey is, but because the way like they have Peter Claffey positioned, they're fellowshipping it basically. What you
Yeah.
said.
Yeah. Like, and in this scene as well, like just, yeah, I mean, when they flash back to the Kingsguard, they try to do the whole camera from above them kind of thing to make them look shorter, but here they just don't look that much like this shot.
There's another one where it's just one of the guys talking to him, and it's like quite clearly like they're doing a thing there, like quite clearly. If you want, I can send you the screen cap. But yeah.
And here is our shot with Gwen. Gwen comes in as he's like spying. She doesn't seem to have any problem with him spying, which is kind of over the, you know. But we get some lines for
he could be an assassin, and she's just straight up talking to him just casually, like.
Yeah. Now they've chosen her because, I mean, I suppose they're like, okay, you're short enough. You can actually be close to Dunk. So we're gonna give you a scene. You know, so like, you know, in canon, you're actually like Gwen is 6 feet tall. But like, because this would be like, if he's like 6'11", like she's like only a head shorter. So
Motherfucker could literally be an assassin, and she's like, "Hey, what's up? What's going on?" Like, I just befriend him.
just spying on the king. Oh, you're trying to assassinate the prince? Yes.
You're stupid. Just runs off.
Yeah. Because then they're just like, why are you spying on us? And so in the short story, he has the excuse because Plummer, Lord Ashford and Plummer are like, no, this is Dunk. He was supposed to come. You know, we were talking about this. And then Baelor's like, oh, we're the intruders. But I think I have to check the lines again, but it's like Baelor is just like, we're the intruders. Well, why are you in the intruders? Like, he's just, because he clearly did intrude. Like, this is not the short story where he accidentally comes in. He says to Egg, I have an idea. He purposely seeks out Ashford Castle, sneaks in, and then sneaks into this like, you know, Lord's Chamber throne room area in order to like confront Baelor. Fucking bold. This is funny. Who had heard Gwen? It's her birthday. That's true. Poor. They don't ruin her birthday. They killed that horse on her birthday. Ruined it. So yeah, they go through the whole thing. They go through these lines are almost word for word when they starts talking about hedge knights and why he would remember Sir Arlen and stuff like that. But here's the weird thing, right? The episode opens with the framing of Sir Arlen and how the lords don't remember him. And then it ends with Dunk at the camp being like, I'm going to show these motherfuckers who Sir Arlen is because I'm going to fucking win. You know? And that's how it's bookended. But the thing is Baelor in the middle shows that at least nobility like does remember him, you know? And so it's like, I mean, maybe in Dunk's mind, there's a difference between a prince and a lord, but that's certainly not the message of the story. Like, I mean, the princes and lords are definitely like put together in the story. I mean, that's the whole point of Arian as a character, and the whole point of like why Dunk wants to have Egg be a squire, is this idea that there's some value and benefit to poverty. There's some education that poverty gives you. So it's strange that he still harbors all of this like bitterness at episode's end, when like Baelor Targaryen did remember who Arlen was. So anyway, we get past the the Baelor scene is forever. Oh, we go back to the puppets, the puppet theater. They make a point to call like everything puppets, I guess, because this is like a full body thing. I mean, it's definitely a wooden head. I'm trying to think of let me get a good shot of what exactly is going on. Oh. Okay. So they've purposely made Florian by himself a puppet. And they're like pulling these like ropes and everything to make the one life-sized puppet work. Huh. Okay. Just to give us some puppets.
I love this comment. Ninjas confirmed canon in the series.
Yeah. It'd be so distracting. Like, did you ever see Forgetting Sarah Marshall?
Yes, actually, with the guy who plays Marshall in How I Met Your Mother. Mm-hmm.
He has this like Dracula puppet theater, whatever thing. But I fucking think it's the worst. But I'm in the minority, I'm sure. But but I'll tell you why I think it's the fucking worst. Like if you were honestly like you go to see a show with puppets, okay. So he does this like show, and they're all dressed in black, but then they have all of their faces showing, and their faces are all emoting massively.
Is that Bill Hader?
Yeah.
Oh shit! I don't remember him in there. I love Bill Hader.
But it's just like, if I were watching a puppet show, I'd want to see the fucking puppets. Like I wouldn't want to be distracted by people's faces constantly in the middle of the show. So I'd just be like, this would be the worst play to see. If like, I mean, had they covered their faces with black, maybe it would have worked, and I'd just be seeing the puppets. But right now, I'm just seeing like these people's faces like screaming and everything, and be like, well, I'm trying to fucking. I thought we were seeing puppets. So you're right that like the ninjas would distract me from the puppet. But at least we got fucking puppets. At least we got some puppets. And then we get to the conversation between Tansel and Dunk. And yeah, it goes well. I think this is fine. They give a few lines. They switch some lines over to Egg. Um, they actually give the most embarrassing line to Egg. It's so in the short story. In the short story, he says, "Oh, Tansel, too tall. You're not too tall. You're just the right size for." And she goes, "For?" And he goes, "Puppets." And it's really lame and embarrassing because he didn't want to say me, but he was also too shy, so he just kind of lamely said puppets. And here they give the line to Egg, so Dunk is not as embarrassed, which that's unfortunate because Dunk being embarrassed with the line puppets is pretty funny. It was fine though. But it is one of my favorite. It's probably one of my favorite jokes of the short story. You're not too tall, not too tall for puppets. Oh, oh. Um. So, is this Dexter Soul guy? He's pretty small, eh? Because here he looks tiny.
Mm-hmm. He's allowed to be next to Peter Claffey because he's so small.
Yeah, like
It's
Gwen
the rule
is
of thumb for the
too.
show. Mm-hmm.
All right, and then it has nothing to do with the story at all, but the tug of war scene comes, and
It's great. Love it.
great, that's the whole thing, right? We're just gonna have a fucking tug of war. It's nothing to do with anything, but you're like, let's give Daniel Ing some screen time, and that's it. Pretty fun. Pretty fun. To be. Uh, I don't know if there's ever been a tug of war put to screen that's not fun. They're always pretty fun when they're put to screen.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get to oh, and we get to then we get to it's nighttime, and we get to good old Steely Pate, which at this point I feel like it's pretty late for him to be trying to find armor. It seems like he's been here for a while, and like the fact that he doesn't have like armor is a
Well, it
bit
was only the
much.
second day he was able to get someone to vouch for him.
I know. Um, I suppose it makes sense that he wouldn't want to sell his horse until he got someone to vouch. Um, right? There'd be no point in selling your horse before the vouching. So I guess it makes sense that he would only want to get the armor after the vouching. Though I think in the short story he gets the armor before the vouching. But do you think Egg should have been in the tug of war?
Yeah, why not? Like Egg being in and doing stuff with Dunk, that is like
It's got
good
to be
decision
character
on their
building,
part.
right? Like the
Yeah,
relationship
like
building.
it's yeah, like
They're
it's
having
exactly what I'm
fun
looking for.
together. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Now they do none of the Jesus parallels and everything with Steely Pate. All the Jesus parallels have kind of been lost, but it's fine. I don't know if Ira Parker caught all of the Jesus parallels in the short story, but he is made to kneel and everything here. So then we get this this little love scene between Dunk and his horse. Um, Even though in practice he's actually pretty fucking cruel to horses. Um, if you go by the scenes, shoving bits in their mouths for no reason, tying them up by their reins, stuff like that. And then are we at... I forget, what conversation is this where he and Egg are just having a conversation here? I don't know what
It's the
they're talking.
conversation where he talks about Sir Donald of Duskendale.
Oh, and that's where he tells him the crabber thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty. It's a pretty funny joke, I'll have to say. I think that's... yeah. Bravo, bravo. I laughed pretty hard on that. First time saw it, and then, oof! Look, it looks visually brilliant. The night joust, like obviously it looks awesome, but come fucking on, like you'd never have a joust at night. That is the dumbest idea ever. I mean, it looks. This is the whole thing of like what looks cool on screen versus what would actually fucking work in real life. No, you never have fucking a night joust. Why would you waste a joust when no one can see the participants? Like this is a sport in which the participants have to like see out of helms that they can hardly see, and find shields, and everyone else is looking for the art of the fucking joust. They too are seeing like who is sitting a horse better, who is hit a shield, and stuff like that. There's no way that they could possibly get enough fire to light the thing. I mean, I guarantee, like for filming, they had floodlights for these scenes, like that they specifically had floodlights. But the idea that like, oh, these braziers are illuminating enough of the goddamn field for an audience to view a night joust, it's yeah.
It also frustrates me a little bit that House of the Dragon in that one
Mm,
episode had more of an accurate jousting moment than this scene did, because even in the source material they tap on the shield to signify who they want to challenge. They didn't do that here. They like kind of
yeah.
skipped all that. Like even Damon like he struts around and like tries to challenge individual people. It doesn't happen here. It's just like, oh, it's a joust. Everyone's in the middle of it. Let's all come together. It's just chaos.
Yeah,
Chaos on top of chaos.
tourney's
Which
starting in the morning. First of all, there's okay. Prior to the electric light, okay, people for the most part woke up at dawn and went to sleep when it got dark. Like they just wasn't hanging out at night. Like people just didn't really fucking do that. Because like one, there just wasn't as much entertainment like in general, but two, like candles are expensive. Everything's dark. Like what are you gonna do? So like when the sun went down, everyone's like, might as well go to sleep. And in most writing, people actually talk about first waking and second waking. That human beings would actually sleep a long period of time from whatever sundown to like 2 a.m. Then they'd wake up at 2 a.m. and they would have just like a couple hours of mindful thoughtfulness. They would like writing would call it, where they would go for walks, couples would have sex, people would sit and think about the world from like 2 to 4 a.m. or whatever, and then they'd go back to sleep, or midnight to 2 a.m. or whatever, and then they'd go back to sleep until dawn. And people slept a lot. And this idea that everybody's just hanging out at night. Like, think about this. The sun went down And Dunk went to find Steely Pate. And he sat there and he had that conversation with Egg. Then the fucking night joust starts. Where everyone can get fucking hurt. Then he goes back to camp and like has a conversation with Egg again. Just too much at night, man. Too much. Oh my lord. I mean, it looks beautiful.
Well, this scene specifically, like the jousting, I'm pretty sure it was in the source material, wasn't it? Where our narrator tells us like how jousting works. Pretty sure
Yeah.
it was. That
Yeah.
they
I
then
mean,
selected their. I'm reading it here. Then selected their opponents by tapping one of the champion's shields with their lance. As the knights trotted into position, Ashford Meadow grew almost still. There was no explanation for the audience how jousting works. We're just supposed to kind of get it, I guess.
right. Yeah. And keep in mind, you know, a lot of that in the Hedge Knight is based on Ivanhoe and stuff like that. Based on Ivanhoe, the movie, which is based on Ivanhoe, the story and stuff like that. There's some explanation of like how the jousting rules work for this particular tourney, because the jousting rules are very different tourney to tourney. But I mean, we get a vague question on like who he means to challenge and stuff like that, but from Raymond Fossway. And so after that joust, this is what's weird. The joust starts giving Dunk PTSD, right? He
More like a bit of a panic attack.
Yeah. Yeah, so what happens is he's at the joust and then all of a sudden he all of a sudden is kind of like focused back on Sir Arlen, and he's thinking about Arlen. And then, yeah, you're thinking it's a panic attack. I mean, that would make more sense. But his response to the panic attack is to go back to camp and be angry at the lords and say that he's going to defeat them. I mean, granted, they were trying to bookend the story and they were trying to like have it all come back to Sir Arlen in the end.
I wouldn't say he was angry, more like he was determined to prove Sir Arlen's legacy, because nobody remembers him. He died without leaving much of a mark on the world, and Dunk will be his mark to show them. Like,
but I don't know
Arlen
why the violence of a night joust is the specific thing to jog that memory. You know?
Because I'm pretty sure that's the first joust he actually attended since he's been there.
Yeah, but why would that of all things like make him think of Sir Arlen?
Because he spent the entire day trying to get people to remember Sir Arlen, and no one does. The only person that does is Baelor.
Right.
The one person who does.
I'm getting
Baelor,
like
if Baelor remembers him, but Baelor is also a special kind of person.
But what does that have to do with jousting?
Well, hedge knights usually make their mark by defeating people in jousting and making names for themselves. And Sir Arlen not really making a name for himself, just going around being a glorified
I'm trying to think, like, if it's specifically the lords that he saw perform were the ones that denied him, and he saw them.
I'm pretty sure Leo Tyrell was in there. I'm pretty sure Tyrell. I saw the Tyrell sigil.
If it's Leo Tyrell and he sees Leo Tyrell and he gets specifically angry about Leo Tyrell, I could maybe buy that. Let's see here. Well, no, he gets Valar Targaryen and Valar against I'm looking at these like here, let me bring this up.
It was hard to see who it was, but it was Tyrell.
Oh, really? It's
Tully,
hard to
of course.
see. It's hard to see a night joust.
Yes, but I could still see the Tyrell sigil, and I think that might be Hightower sigil.
Oops. There's Laughing Storm. Grr. I don't even know what this is. Somebody? Somebody's getting crushed. There's Tyrell.
Mm-hmm.
But they want him to say if it's Tyrell right before, then he's getting angry. He's like, okay, go frame by frame.
By the way, this fucking maneuver here is crazy good. Like, I don't know if that's a thing they do in jousting normally.
No,
or
of
even
course
in
it
Idaho,
isn't. What are you fucking talking about?
Fuck,
No,
what the fuck
no one,
this?
no one could fucking
This
do
is
that.
like
That's ridiculous.
This is some
No,
Legolas shit right here. It's fucking nuts.
fucking reaching down to grab your fucking shield. No,
Oh my god, that's some
no,
Legolas shit right there. And
that is
Man makes a very good
that
point
is
here.
ridiculous. That no human being in the history of jousting has ever done that. No.
Man here says it would have made more sense if this was the first joust Dunk's ever been to, and Arlen never actually said how violent and dangerous they are, and he realizes, holy fuck, I'm about to get ripped apart by these guys. That would have made a lot of sense. I agree with you.
But we know that Dunk has attended at least Sir Arlen against Baelor. So
right. Mm-hmm. Or at least has heard about it.
No, he attended that one.
I thought did he say he attended that one, or he just said he heard about it? The old man said.
Nope, he definitely attended it. That's the whole point.
Baelor's like, tales grow in the telling.
That's the whole point, is the fact that Baelor is wrong and Dunk is right. And that Baelor and Dunk submits to saying he's wrong when he's actually right. Yeah, because Dunk was at the tourney. He saw it with his own eyes. It wasn't a tall tale that Sir Arlen told. Dunk was there.
I love this guy here. He goes, what do you mean? I did it in my joust last week.
So, okay. Yeah, no, I don't. It's not really. It's not that Tyrell isn't there, but the last person to really cause him is whoever these guys are, and watching that awesome maneuver of picking up the shield. So, like, unless you think like watching an awesome maneuver of picking up a shield is going to remind you of Sir Arlen, there's no reason, to. Anyway, I think I just think they could have done a better job establishing why you're suddenly thinking about Sir Arlen and being angry at the Lords right now when of all times, Okay, let's get to super chat. But overall, fun episode. It's got a tug of war in it. It's a pretty fun tug of war episode. And it's got a couple of good jokes.
I was telling Preston, people wanted Lionel to be gay for Dunk so badly, but then they were disappointed that he tapped Dunk on the butt. And apparently that's the mark of a straight man, because straight men love tapping their friends on the butt. I'm like, what?
I mean,
and people say you're nitpicky. Stop.
I don't know how often I tap my friends on the butt. I'd say close to never, but I guess I don't know what these towel snapping, shoulder punching dudes do. I don't know.
Locker room talk.
Locker room stuff, Anyway, fanfic talk. With Jon Con possibly losing his hand in battle, will we see more parallels to him and Jaime going forward? Conflicting views of Rhaegar. I mean, with Jon Con, I kind of see things going dark. I mean, he probably would want to lose his hand in battle, but or maybe he purposely tries to lose his hand in battle and then he just starts getting grayscale on the other hand. But with the possible parallels of Jaime, I mean, maybe we'll see. But I definitely just kind of see dark things coming for poor Jon Con, which is too bad. Because I do like Jon Con as a character, but man, like the grayscale thing is just like, it's such a brutal thing, and we know that it has to get fucking worse. And just knowing that you've got to fucking go like into some dark fucking horrible territory with the grayscale makes me, it makes me, I don't know, nervous and dread about going forward with Jon Con. Just because you just know it's just going to be bad things in the future. Well, Jaime, I mean, all the characters have to deal with some darkness, but I don't know. I don't know what to do with Jaime next. I mean, I kind of know, like, the current chapter that we're working on, and then I was thinking about swapping the perspective to Brienne after that. But we'll see. We'll see. But
someone hit me up here and they're asking, why didn't Jon Con just cut off his hand when he got the grayscale? Preston, I'm pretty sure he even addresses that. Like if he does it, he'll have to explain why he lost the fingers,
right?
And it'll look like he did it because of grayscale. Am I correct on that?
Right. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Himself.
Mm-hmm.
Could you please rate this episode on a scale of 1 to 10? It's pretty good. 7 out of 10. As good as the first one. Which one do you like better? First one or second one, Carmine?
Second one. I would give this like an 8. Oh, yeah? It's so good. Yeah. First one was fine. This one, it's better because all of our characters are like, Dunk does it. I did my review. Dunk does everything he needs to. Baylor was great. Egg was great. Everyone was pretty good.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's fun episode.
I would have given it a 10 out of 10, but
there's a lot more
action.
There's a lot more action in this one. There's actually jousting, and stuff like that. I suppose you have to give it higher marks than the previous episode. The previous episode, the highlight was a party, which was fun and all, but fucking jousting is always pretty exciting.
Preston, I think you would agree with me. I would have given it a 10 out of 10, but if it wasn't for that fucking dwarf character, God, ruining the episode. Oh my God. Dude.
Horrible actor.
Ruining the episode. Holy shit. Why would he do this? Why would Ira Parker do this to us?
Look at the banners, you giant cunt. Look at the banners, you giant cunt.
Really? Not a big deal, but all right.
That's how it was delivered. Look at the banners, you giant cunt. You had your shot. Little person. You had your shot. Any theories on who poisoned the wildfire area and drank? That's pretty funny. Probably Egg. Egg hated Aryan.
That's a good one.
Oh, episode 3 has a scene where Dunk copulates in latrine. This symbolizes a knighthood or something. Oh, copulates in a latrine symbolizes knighthood or something. We're past the worst of the poop humor now, aren't we? Trying to remember how the other episodes open, but I remember. Is the next one a fart?
No. The next one is
that the Aang one, right?
The Aang
from Avatar.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Avatar.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Avatar: The Last Airbender.
I know, but I have no idea what you're talking about.
There's an episode where like Egg wakes up early and starts martial artsing.
Oh yeah, it was in the preview. He's not spoiling anything. The worst thing in the next episode is a horse takes a shit and a character has like an eye pop out, but that's about it.
This is the okay iPop episode.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Episode 4 is the yeah.
the Ang episode is episode 4.
I have no idea what you're talking about, but it's the fart.
It's the beginning of the episode. He like wakes up in the morning. He starts doing his martial arts, and then the one-eyed guy comes by.
Oh, that's episode 3.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about. It's the Ang beginning. It's not so bad, but yeah.
I should also make it clear I've never seen Avatar: The Last Airbender cartoon, so.
Oh yeah, I'm just but I haven't seen it either. But you must get what I'm saying, right?
Now I do, yes.
I'm surprised. Like you seem like the type of guy who would have watched Avatar: The Last Airbender.
You think I'm a little too younger than I am? Thank you. No, it was way before my time. It was way before I stopped watching. I didn't have cable at the time, so yeah.
Okay, yeah, it was Nickelodeon, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. I stopped watching that stuff.
One historian said opening jousts were at night. This must be a joke, right? Because there's no fucking way that opening jousts are at night. If you started at night, you'd be there. Oh, he's saying that the opening joust could be just before dawn. Is the idea? Because you really do want to start. Yeah, you do want to start in the morning because you're jousting. You're doing this fucking stuff all day, right? Like, these jousts take for fucking ever. But an opening joust at night? I don't know. I don't think you'd ever have jousting at night. I like Google it and people are like, seems a bit mental. Like yeah. But yeah. Exhibition match? No, like that doesn't make any sense either. Jousting is dangerous. You're not fucking. This is like. Do you know about the Pro Bowl, Carmine? You've been around enough to know enough about American football, right? About the Pro Bowl.
The Pro Bowl? I don't know. No American football. Is that soccer? Soccer is football, buddy. But
okay,
tell me about this.
So in baseball, halfway through the baseball season, they stop the season to have the All-Star game. And the All-Star game, it's just a fun little game where it means nothing. The National League versus the American League, it's just the best, the people that voted in or whatever. NBA, it's the same. Halfway through, you have the All-Star game. Now, people ask, okay, does that mean halfway through the football season you would have the Pro Bowl? And the answer is no. You would never have the Pro Bowl halfway through the football season because injuries are just too common in football. And why would you risk your player to go play in a fucking exhibition game in the middle of the season when it's so fucking important? People don't get injured at the All-Star game or in basketball or baseball. And so they do have a Pro Bowl after the Super Bowl. A week or two after the Super Bowl, they have the Pro Bowl. But it's also like the gentlest you'll ever see anyone play football because no one wants to possibly injure themselves. But yeah, you'd never have an exhibition joust thing. Like jousting is fucking seriously. Yeah, that's interesting. The jousting cover up poor CGI. It's true that like CGI does look better if it's nighttime. Casual net sex and contemplation. It's true. Preston clearly hasn't enjoyed the surreal feeling of an 11 p.m. start time U.S. Open tennis match. Oh, man. Imposter syndrome for imposter. That's kind of funny. Maybe so. Yeah, I guess he somehow gets imposter syndrome and then tries to talk himself back into it, is the idea, I think.
That's not what it is.
For Dunk?
Yeah, that's not what it is. I told you he.
That he has like the PTSD about Sir Arlen. Well,
He doesn't have PTSD. He's having a panic attack because he realizes that Sir Arlen really didn't make his mark on the world as like he thought, and but that's okay though because Sir Arlen raised and trained him, and now we will see what his hand has wrought. Dunk will be the legacy Arlen leaves behind, and he'll make a mark on the world. No, no.
no. I mean, that's just not what Dunk wants. Dunk just like Dunk is ambitious, but he's not ambitious of like leaving a mark on the world. That's not like Dunk. Like his big goal is like to win one tilt
Leaving,
so that
leaving
he'll
Sir
make it
Arlen's
into a
mark.
lord's household. Like that's his
He is
goal.
Arlen's legacy, and him doing something and being something is Sir Arlen leaving his
You are
legacy and his
making up
mark as
you
well.
are making up themes that are
Okay.
not in the fucking
Oh, okay.
show or
Okay. All
story.
right. Okay.
Fucking like making a mark on this world is not something that Dunk has ever fucking talked about at all in the show or books. Um, Duke of Burgundy wedding, 1468, nighttime jousting. Jesus Christ.
Really? Holy shit. Okay.
Nighttime
That's
celebration while jousting
that's a
took
special
place in the
occasion, though.
marketplace. Evenings were filled with sumptuous banquets. Hmm. Now you have to also, I mean, you also have to like be very careful, even when things are reported in history. Like, did that really happen? But I don't, like this very strange. Like, what is my source on this? The source is the joyous entry of Margaret of York Expo. I don't see anything on nighttime jousting. I don't see anything on this. Here we go. There was jousting in the evenings. And Brelinor needed more 50 pages to do justice to the magnificence. Um, well, evening is not necessarily night. So I'm going to first like point that out. There's but and our source is this is a chronicle written by Deruver. Translation. 1,100 horse. See, it says here, Deruver's joyous entry has cultural as well as political significance. It relates to how Margaret married Charles the Bold at 7 in the morning in the dining room of the Bailiff of Dam. 2 hours later, she approached the town gates of Bruges in splendid sedan, preceded by 1,100 horses, by Charles' servants on 200 horses, by 10 bishops, noblemen, heralds, knights of the Golden Fleece, bowmen, an altogether colorful sight, enlivened by the ringing of trumpets and clarins. Wine streamed from the breast of a pelican. Jousting in the evenings. And he needs 50 pages to do all this justice. You're like, okay. But now I'm like, what was that jousting? Like, was it actually competitive jousting? How late in the evening? It's just kind of tacked on there. Like, oh yeah, and there was jousting. Jousting's a pretty significant thing. You don't just tack it on. Like, well, I don't know. Again, it's just being suspicious of sources here. And what exactly went on. So, I mean, it's interesting to hear, but it's also hard to believe. Because, yeah. Very late too, because like by then there's hardly even any knights. I mean, it's like the waning period. It's like the last century of knighthood. Um, I got into this argument um, uh, about a month ago with my wife about. So my son asks me all sorts of like random questions about like how tall is the tallest person? How short is the shortest person? Who's the oldest person to ever live? Who's the stuff like that. And so he asked who was the youngest person to ever give birth. And there is this story of a 5-year-old
in South America. I think I know the story you're talking about.
Right. And but the thing is, like, I was like, I thought that's very dubious. Like, and I understand, like, you can look it up and you can go into it and you can look at the sources, but the sources just aren't fucking good. Like, you're like, oh, it was a 5-year-old, this girl that they found in a village in the middle of nowhere. So we have no fucking birth certificate of how old she was. We have no idea who she was, how old she was. And the only recording is like one single doctor in fucking Peru or something, like recording the whole thing. And you're just like, like, I understand, that you want to sort of like have this like record of everything, but it's just, there's just not that much there. Like when you actually like look at, whether or not like a 5-year-old gave birth. Not that the person probably wasn't like 8. She might've been 8, like it doesn't, but still, like, we don't have birth certificate. She's from a nowhere village in the middle of fucking Peru. And it was recorded by some doctor. Like, how do we know these things as facts? Like, what's the proof? And so like, this is the thing is like, it takes a lot for me to be like, that happened. Was there nighttime jousting? It seems really, really fucking iffy to do what nighttime jousting. That's the thing is like, does it first pass the sniff test? And then like, okay, well, what evidence do we have that it happened? And that thing. I think I'm being too hard on the my burden of evidence, Carmine.
I'm surprised with how much like how nitpicky you are sometimes, and like to prove all this shit wrong. I'm surprised someone hasn't like made a YouTube channel specifically to prove you wrong.
Oh, I'm sure, but the thing is like I mean, part of it's just like as an auditor, what I'm allowed to publish and what I am allowed to say is true as an auditor requires a level of proof that the rest of the world doesn't really understand. Like, for instance, like a news article, I like that's not very good proof because that's just what a journalist said on a certain day, and journalists are wrong all the time. But people quote news articles all the time in Wikipedia. That's enough evidence for a Wikipedia article. Is like, oh, it was printed in the Washington Post or something. And that's not good enough for like something I would do. So like if you were really ask yourself like, okay, I mean honestly, if you were to step back and be like, okay, a person is claiming to be the youngest person to ever give birth. What's the first thing you would ask for?
Or you're actually asking birth certificate. You're actually asking me, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You want to know the fact of who is the youngest person to give birth. Well, what's the first thing you do? What evidence do we have of how old they were? Right?
No, I just find it funny you tie it to you being an auditor. I just
No, I mean it's just like it's what you do for a fucking living, and so it's like you're like it's like banged into your head about like levels of evidence, and so it's like okay, someone says something like okay, there was nighttime jousting. Well, what's my evidence for the nighttime jousting? Well, we have somebody's like written account of a wedding from 600 years ago where someone says there was jousting in the evening. Okay. Is that good enough? Were they at the wedding? Is it a second account?
Who's the guy that super chatted the night joust thing? I want to know so I can ban him so he never like derails us ever again in the future.
Well, this is this is these things on like how to get Preston to go down rabbit holes is to get onto like levels of evidence. Was that person at the wedding? Or are they writing it about second account? And what does evening mean? That kind of thing. Was it in the show behind the scenes that Sir Arlen's son was a squire who died, and that Sir Arlen adopted him later? Yeah, in the this episode, he says that Sir Arlen did not have any children, and in the books, Sir Arlen of Pennytree has he has a nephew that dies. I don't think he ever had a son of his I don't think he ever had a son of his own. He has a nephew. But yeah, in this episode, they specifically say like he didn't have any kids. But I don't know if there's behind the scenes. Do you remember anything like that, Carmine?
In this episode specifically?
No, like behind the scenes. I remember from this episode, Dunk saying that he didn't have any kids, and it's true that at least in the book continuity, he doesn't have any kids either. Mm-hmm. I was just wondering if like they fucked up in a behind the scenes and said that he had kids.
I don't think so.
Maria's talking about. How could Dunk have been present for Eternity 16 years ago, especially in the book? He would have been a toddler. No, the Eternity at Storm's End is not 16 years ago. The Eternity at Storm's End is it's when like Dunk is like 9. Um, I got to bring up the hedge knight. I mean, there's very kind of specific thing brought up in the he says um it was 9 years past at Storm's End. Lord Baratheon
So
held a hostilute.
So there, it's confusing because he's in that scene. Baelor in the show, Baelor's talking about two different instances. The first one he jousts with Sir Arlen was at Storm's End. The Grey Lion question was at a melee in King's Landing.
That's it. You've got it correct, right? Because they're talking about two different events. Yes, there's something at Lannisport. There's the Lannisport tourney, which is older, where he faces off against the Grey Lion. And that is only a story that Dunk hears. But Dunk is at the Storm's End tourney, the one 9 years ago. And so it's significant because it's just one of these things where you find out, like, if you read between the lines, that Dunk is very humble in the sense that he's like telling Baelor he's wrong when in fact Dunk is correct. Yeah. So yeah, this is the thing is, yes, Dunk was not at the Lannisport tourney. He was at the Storm's End tourney. Could Hallis Mullen have been captured by Dagmar? Man, you're reading, Mr. Gumble, you're reading my fucking diary here. This is one of the plans of the fanfic, is that Dagmar Cleftjaw is perhaps going to be kidnapping some, I mean, not kidnapping, but capturing some people that might be heading north from the Neck and things like that. I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to have Hallis Mullen, but I will tell you that definitely Edric Dane is going to be captured by Dagmar Cleftjaw. But it'd be, throw Hallis Mullen in there too, maybe. But yes, you're reading my fucking diary, man. Poppin'. So this was all like solved long ago. This was solved like an hour ago.
What happened?
Oh, we were going through the talking about the tourneys. Yeah, this was all solved like a long time ago. What will Stannis do after he takes Winterfell? Who knows if he's going to take Winterfell? Who knows if he's going to survive? But I think there is a question of whether or not Stannis would betray everybody and just start marching south rather than marching north.
Stannis marching south. What is he trying to outrun winter? Would his best bet be to try to get Winterfell to weather the storm?
Yeah. Oh, somebody said no. The Pro Bowl game is in the conference, between the conference title games and the Super Bowl. Okay, they might have changed that, but I don't know if the participants in the Super Bowl participate in the Pro Bowl, because that would just be dumb. That'd be dumb. Oh, they do it before the Super Bowl now. Yeah, they must have switched it now and made it flag football. Okay. Yeah, it used to be tackle. I mean, but that's the thing is I stopped watching sports for a number of years, and then they change everything around. But yeah, I'm not sure what Stannis will do. But I think if anything, he's going to start marching south. The thing is that like there's not much time for Stannis to do much because it's the others got to start invading. And the Pro Bowl is now a flag football game. Man, I mean, I understand why they did that because they stopped tackling in football, and so if tackling is no longer a thing, you can't have people like um, participating in the game. Flag. I mean, safety wise, that completely makes sense. Questioning the validity of recorded history. Yeah, of course. You think you fucking like write shit down, it becomes true? Um, like of course you should like the whole point. Like anytime there's history, you need to fucking like question it. Anytime. The thing is, the first rule of history if it's interesting, it probably didn't happen. That's the first rule. Because the real history is boring. Like what the events of real life are boring, right? So like it being in a fascinating narrative, oh, what a great historical thing. No, it's like no, that's not interesting. That's not probably what happened. But yeah, but every piece of history you should be questioning. Where's this? What's the source? Is it likely that this happened? What's the bias of the person that wrote this down? Like, especially with history, it's not like they had any like standards of you know uh, impartial history before like the 1900s. Like everyone was just writing down like entertainment or myth or propaganda. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. Could have made slaves joust at night. No free person would do that. I mean, it's kind of true. It's just be so dangerous. Why would anyone do that? But would a slave know how to joust? In Peru, very dark story, of course. About the yeah, there is a supposed picture of her pregnant. There's one picture of her pregnant. Um, but again, we don't know how old she is. Like even if it's a legit picture, you know, we don't know how old she is. You know, I work in education. I'm surprised at how many girls get their periods at 8 to 9 years old. I mean, there is a big difference between 8, 9, and 4. Like that's the thing. Um, and so it's like there's lots of people that look young. There's a lot of 6-year-olds that look like 4-year-olds or 7-year-olds that look like 4-year-olds. I'm just saying it's when we don't have a fucking birth certificate, how confident are you going, to go around and say like how old this person was? Thoughts on people's focus on Sam's mask, but ignore scene of Tyrion's premature performance and exposing himself to visible, unwilling Sansa. Oh, I forgot the yeah, the weird scenes in Storm. This is where they like try to like, I don't know. George tries to kind of repair uh, Tyrion right before ruining him again, right? Like tries to make him seem like he's not so bad. Um, where he's just like, gets naked and then is like, no, we don't have to do anything. Um, and then of course makes him pretty horrible for the rest of the book. But yeah, I'm not sure if and people focus on Tyrion's mask because it's funny, while like focusing anything on underage Sansa makes people uncomfortable and they just don't want to talk about it. They want to forget those scenes happened, just for for the age situation. Asked for the 5-year-old's father's head. He was arrested for a while, and then he was released with a lack of evidence. So obviously it seemed like something gross was going on, obviously, but like he did not actually do any time. I mean, he was released. Um, does Robert exhibit Euron behavior with Stannis and Renly? Like, like in the sense that like Euron purposely has sex with his younger brother's wife, or I'm not quite sure what the question is here.
I think he's implying, does he think, do you think that Robert possibly molested Renly and Stannis?
Oh, don't think so. Not up. We have no evidence of that. No mention of that from any characters. Not mentioned by by Robert. Not mentioned by Stannis. Not mentioned by Renly. Renly doesn't seem to have any problem with Robert. Stannis doesn't like Robert, but doesn't seem to have a burning hatred of him. No, that's not really a possibility. Thank you. Capitulates. And am I coming to the end? Coming to the end? Woohoo! Um, but yeah, that would be out of character for Robert. I mean, who knows? Everything's out of character, but just in the fact that we don't have any mention for Stannis or Renly on any of that. So it's just hmm. I'm like trying to remember my Fire and Blood stuff here because you're getting me on like the weakest aspect of like my of my knowledge is random Fire and Blood stuff that's not Rogue Princess and the Queen like stuff later. Like obviously like the first half of Fire and Blood is probably the material I'm weakest on. Um, and I'm trying to remember. Let's see, Visera.
She's the one that she was supposed to be married off to the Lord of White Harbor, and then
Hmm.
before she goes off, she dies in like a drag race through King's Landing. You don't remember that? We
Yeah,
covered this
no,
specifically.
it's like ringing a bell. Okay. Okay. 10th child, she had refused their sister Dela. She, after Viserys' brother Vagon had refused Dela as a bride, Visera and her old sister were briefly considered. Sarah was only 6 years old. According to Alicent, Visera aimed to become queen and had eye on the 14-year-old brother Balon, who had been a widower. I see. So she wanted to wed her older brother, but they betrothed her to Manderley. She was not excited and then grew stout. Hoping to be rescued, according to Coat, one night, she slipped past Balon's guards and climbed into his bed naked. Balon sent the drunk girl away. Not after long with the incident with Balon, arrangements were made for her departure for White Harbor. She did a switch of clothes to get out. She collided and was thrown from her saddle and died of a broken neck at 15. Huh. Yeah. I mean, I don't know about if I have any theories. You're thinking that other than Allie was jealous of her daughter, I don't know how she had such a bad marriage, politically speaking. So how I feel about Fire and Blood. I mean, this is really that question. Is it like Fire and Blood, other than Sons of the Dragon, the Rogue Prince and Princess and the Queen, which all have their weaknesses by themselves. But like, there's a lot of Fire and Blood where I feel like George R. Martin is just fucking filling space because he wants to finish a fucking book and have it out. And the Reign of Jaehaerys is so much of that. It's so much of fucking random shit, like the voyages of Alyssa Farman and whatever, and like what happened to the 506 like children of Jaehaerys and how each of them freaking died. And I don't know. I don't know if there's any like real deep thought into what was going on with them or not. Uh, it's just I honestly don't think George R. R. Martin put very much time or thought into writing the Jaehaerys story in Fire and Blood. That he was just fucking writing and filling up the space because that was the space he needed to fill. You know, he had the Maegor stuff, and he had the Viserys and Dance of the Dragon stuff. He just needed a little bit of Aegon, and he didn't write very much Aegon. Aegon is fucking empty as hell considering how long he ruled. They hardly wrote anything on Aegon. And then he had to write this Jaehaerys stuff. And in interviews, people kept asking like, oh, what's your favorite king? And he'd be like, Jaehaerys, because that was the stuff he actually like focused on writing for it, and I just don't think there was much there to it. But
well, the only thing interesting about Jaehaerys was him and his wife, and then George just kind of became lazy when it came to writing about the kids. I mean, one of the kids, his entire personality was he likes books, and one of the other daughters, Gail, her entire thing was, oh, she cries a lot, and she had a one night stand with this one guy, then she died, she killed herself.
Right.
It seemed kind of lazy,
and this Balon and Alyssa, they were totally into fucking each other. Like he just kind of throw in kind of like really like one interesting anecdote about each character, and then that was it. I mean, if anything, Sarah steals the show as like the one interesting character of the bunch.
Mm-hmm.
Does it go against George's canon that Arlen has 5 limbs? they I don't know what to think. Yeah, I don't know.
You want to put bets on if he mentions that in his blog? You want to throw bets down on this? If he mentions
I think it's probable that he would mention it. He'd be like, my Sir Arlen. It would be something like, George would write something like, my Sir Arlen is of course different. He wasn't quite so well endowed. And it would be something like that he'd write.
Mm-mm.
You know? But
George did comment on the poop scene. So
he did. He did.
I don't see why he wouldn't comment on Sir Arlen have a massive cock, but
yeah. Yeah. Sir Arlen died of lack of blood caused by his erection. It's true. Who is your favorite king and why is it Solomon? Are we going to fictitious kings? I mean, Solomon didn't really exist, but I don't know who my favorite unelected dictator of humanity. Can it be the Burger King?
I love that Dane Cook joke. I'm that old, by the way. I love that Dane Cook joke about how his cousin worked at Burger King and he thought he was the Burger King.
I don't know this one. I can't compliment Dane Cook though.
What's wrong with Dane Cook? What do you do?
So Dane Cook kind of represents when comedy goes from joke telling to stage performance, as because you're not really thinking that Dane Cook has a really good joke. People are laughing and enjoying a Dane Cook show because he was so confident on stage and he was jumping around and things like that. Versus the actual writing of the joke being precise and funny, There's a very brutal Anthony Jeselnik thing where he tells the difference between if he told a joke and if Dane Cook told a joke. And it's very funny because Anthony Jeselnik's this is me telling a joke. Okay. My 5-year-old cousin comes to me and his fish has died. And he's like, is my fish going to heaven? And I'm like, fuck no, there's no God. Okay. That's how I would tell a joke. This is how Dane Cook would tell a joke. And he's like, my 5-year-old cousin came to me and he's just a little kid. He's just this cute kid. He's just so
literally stop
will
working.
he be in heaven? And I'm like, of course he is, because I believe in Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior.
Your mic was so offended by your Dane Cook impression, it reverted to your laptop mic.
Nice. That's probably for the best. That's probably for the best. I hit it and got excited. But you got the gist. You heard what I said. Yeah.
Hey, look, man. Hey, look.
But that's I'm not saying that Dane Cook doesn't have a specific talent, but I don't think that talent is what I would call stand-up comedy. It is more confidence on stage in storytelling than it is joke telling. Is that fair, or are you no, I fucking love Dane Cook?
So what you're saying is your favorite doctor is Dr. Pepper. Got it.
Oh well. Yeah, no crowd work. He was a storyteller. But most of his stories were body language and non-facial expressions. That's the thing. It's a different thing. It's just he's not a comic, really. I mean, I'm going to go so far and say that Joe Rogan isn't really a fucking comic either. But at least, Joe Rogan tries with his fucking He tries to have the
Homie,
jokes, but
Joe Rogan was never, even before the right wing shift, he was never funny. Anybody saying that is a liar.
no,
The guy
no,
was
no, no.
never funny.
I kind of laugh because I'm like, okay, I'm gonna pick like random like stand-up comedians. Like, do I think Paula Poundstone was a better stand-up comedian
Who?
than Joe Rogan? I'd be
Paul,
like,
who the
yes.
fuck is that?
Paula Poundstone, Google her. She does a lot of wait, don't tell me these days. But but she was just like Paula Poundstone, like stand up. I mean, she's very 90s, like had vests and shit like that, you know. But she was like a stand-up comedian for a number of years. Or like Rosie, well, if I said do I think like Rosie O'Donnell was a better stand-up comedian than Joe Rogan, of course. But so were a lot of people. I mean, so was Roseanne Barr. There's a lot of fucking better stand-up comedians than fucking, I mean, I can hundreds. Um, and that's the thing is Joe Rogan did burn Carlos Mencia in a funny way. Yeah, I mean, the thing is like, I'm not saying they don't have some other talent because obviously he like has a successful podcast that people want to see. But Aegon the First marries Rhaenys as he couldn't get Visenya up the duff. Oh, is that it? It was only for that. And he's like, oh, I need 2 wives because the other one won't allow me to do that. Oh no, Paula Poundstone is a controversy with an underage child. That's too bad. Rogan's comedy is just shouting loudly. Yeah, I mean, there was one joke that I laughed at his, and then I realized that like he was just making fun of. He was essentially doing da da da, and I kind of laughed at it. But I was also like young. He did have one joke where he was like, people looking at Noah's Ark. This is something where like, a retarded person would like poke holes in it, and then he like goes into a retarded person's voice, and like he is like, where did they put all the food? And I remember laughing at it, but then I'm like, it's just looking back at it. I'm like, he was just putting on a retarded person's voice, and that was the beginning and the end of the joke. Anyway, I do have to head to bed. I'll not answer this last super chat, but I skipped a super chat. Oh, here it is. Netflix hack show for dwarves with bad acting. Turn on Japanese dub with English subs, and professional voice acting elevates the show. I do always think that like Japanese voiceovers are always kind of hilarious, but they're kind of like South American voiceovers are hilarious too. Because all the voices are like me 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 me.
That reminds me, while you're on this topic, hey Nuke, do me a favor, because Nuke here is he's stationed in Japan, or I think he's just living there. Yeah. Hey Nuke, do me a favor, man. If you can get me a Japanese copy of Game of Thrones season 1, that'd be fucking fantastic. Because I could not find it for the life of me, and me and Preston need to do a watch of Japanese Game of Thrones with Ned Stark.
Yes, of course.
A Japanese dub. Winter is coming. I can't.
Winter is
but
coming.
Hey, Nuke, if you could, I'd love you forever, man. I'll pay for shipping and everything.
The thing, I was very surprised at how the lack of popularity of Western fantasy in East Asia is. And I think one reason is that they have their own fantasy. And they have their own like knights, and they have their own, they're not knights, but
not true. That's actually not true. It is true, but it's not. They do put it out, but it just doesn't get enough. Like for example, Vinland Saga is Vikings, and Berserk is medieval fantasy, and then you have Ad Astra Scipio to Hannibal, which is,
Hmm.
Scipio Africanus and Hannibal. So, but it Vinland Saga and Berserk are one of the rare few, but then like all this other cool, crazy shit just doesn't get enough attention, which sucks. So you're right. They
I
do
mean, it's
have
just
their
this,
own richness.
kind of cultural thing that, like, Western society is obsessed with, like, the fucking medieval period of, when people used swords and shit. And it's
Hmm.
not that the Chinese aren't obsessed with, like, when they used swords and shit, and the Japanese aren't obsessed with when they used swords and shit, but they're not
Right.
upset. They're not obsessed. Like, the Japanese and Chinese are not obsessed with us using swords as much. Um, just like you may be obsessed with Japan, but like, how often do you look up anything to do with, like, Chinese sword shit, sword fantasy kind of stuff? Like,
Hmm.
it's just, they just don't do it, right? Um, but
Well, there's a story in Japan right now. It's incredibly popular. It's called Kingdom, and it's like about Chinese history, written by a Japanese guy. And I'm surprised because, I mean, you can back me up on this. The Japanese and the Chinese do not like each other at all. So I'm surprised a Chinese story is being written by a Japanese man has
yeah.
such critical acclaim.
Top three favorite films. Yeah, I don't know. It's tough. I mean, for a while,
The
there's definitely a
Departed.
time where I really liked Fight Club. I really liked Donnie Darko. Um, I'm trying to think of another one. But I don't know. Like, it's been so long since I watched those films, if they would still hold up, or they were just of a time where I watched them and I was like, oh my god, this is so fucking good. And then
That's an
uh,
interesting idea. Like, does it hold up now that you're a married man with a wife and kid? Does it hold up
yeah.
now that you're a different point in your life?
Right. I mean, I think it's a really fascinating. And Carmine's not very interested in it because I brought it up as a podcast idea of because
Return of
I
the Jedi.
rewatched. So I've rewatched Star Wars 1 through 7 like recently,
Okay.
and it's just like there's so many different ways in which I like view the movie now, and there's just things I noticed now that we've done a lot of, like, I don't know, movie analysis and story analysis, and I think about dialogue differently now, and I when you start really, like, delving into stories and writing, and you're getting on this really basic level, um, and how a lot of it's just kind of weird, um, and it's like rewatching those movies, especially one after the other. It's just, wow. It's just, there's a lot of things I forgot, and then there's a lot of new things where I'm just like, huh, I never noticed that. That's really weird.
A lot of things you forgot. Like what? These are timeless classics. What did you forget?
Um, how shitty the prequels look with all that CGI. Like,
And
it just looks
then,
horrible.
well, that's just fair. I was gonna say, like, this
Um,
podcast idea you brought to me when
oh really? I thought we talked about this. I
we we,
I
we
thought, because I
briefly
wanted to go,
spoke
like, talk
about.
about, do a podcast on rewatching Star Wars and being like, huh,
Hmm.
this is this is this is my opinions on it, having seen it again, sitting next to a 6 year old who's watched it for the first time. Um, by the way, the 6 year old points out all of the lame things that people are angry about. The 6 year old points out. So, like, at the end of Return of the Jedi, when Hayden Christensen appears, my 6 year old was like, "Why is young Anakin there? That doesn't make any sense. Why does he get to be young? Why isn't Obi-Wan Kenobi young?" And I was like, that's. And I tried to explain. Well, they used to have the old ghost, and then it got changed for no goddamn reason. Stuff like that. But
The real reason, there is an actual in canon reason. It's because that was the last time Anakin was, part of the good side. It's a dumb reason, but
I mean, wasn't he good with the Force after he throws the Emperor in, and then he has his helmet taken off?
no.
Then why does he get to be a Force ghost? If he's not
Because
good, why does he
fuck
get to be
you.
a Force ghost?
Because fuck you. That's why. That's good. That's a very good question. That's a very good question.
These
Because
fucking idiots.
Yoda at the end of episode 3 sets up like in order for you to be a Force ghost, you kind of have to do all this training and whatnot. So, and I don't think Vader did that.
What have I noticed here? Episode 7 is a beautiful looking movie and
Force
is
Awakens?
really well directed and is still really a piece of shit movie. But so beautiful looking. Like,
are you talking about Force Awakens?
Force Awakens.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, wow, this is a visually very beautiful movie. But yeah, no, it's horrible. But it's just like it direction wise, like maybe, I mean, not Empire Strikes Back, but like it's direction wise, it's like, it's probably the best directed of the movies, but it's, man, what a horrible movie. And I mean, just, I don't know if like the joke style of 7, 8, 9, I don't know if it's going to hold up over time. It's really bad. There's some bad jokes, you know, just like the little things where like Han is like over there, you know, like over there. And Finn's like, what are you doing with your face? Why are you doing that? And you're just like, oh my God. It's like, these jokes are not going to fucking hold up. And yeah, the prequel, I mean, people do give George Lucas credit. Like he did, all the politics stuff is straight up 100% correct. Like he did get all of that. Like I'll praise like George Lucas for being like, okay, for just like predicting the future. But that doesn't mean he made a very good movie. He made very good movies with the prequels. But even if he did predict the downfall of society and put it to film, I don't know. When's the last time you watched them?
What specifically? Star Wars?
Yeah, Star Wars.
I watched like a bunch of clips. This is the thing about rewatching films. I don't know if you feel the same way. I don't know how clued into or plugged into YouTube you are, but like I feel like I watch Star Wars all the time, but not the movie from start to finish, just like random clips here and there. I feel like you're the same way with like random movies from your past. Do you know what I'm talking about? Do you actually know what I'm talking about? Like, you don't really watch, like, I feel like movies from my past that I like, I want to, with the exception of the Lord of the Rings trilogy, I want to sit down and rewatch Star Wars, but I feel like I've seen so much of it through random clips that YouTube recommends to me that I don't get you know what I'm saying? I don't feel the need to.
You don't feel the need to. That's the problem, is you don't crave it in the same sense.
Because it's like drip feed. It's drip
but
fed.
But it's important. It's important to like actually see a film from beginning to end with no distraction.
I agree.
Scale of 1 to 10, how hydrated are you? I'm doing okay. I think I'm at an 8 right now. You know, I got my water. It's, you know, it's fine. No kidney stones these days. George Carlin to be anti-vax? I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say. He died at just the right time. I think he'd be very upset about where the world's gone and stuff like that. So, did Lucas make a good movie? He made Star Wars. He directed Star Wars. And for all of its faults, I like American Graffiti. It's a very interesting movie, American Graffiti, but so Carmine, thank you for being with me tonight, as always.
Leaving already? We just
just started.
By the way, that real quick, that Star Wars podcast, I feel like that would just be several hours of you nitpicking Star Wars. Much to
I mean, you can say like I'm surprisingly, it's not the nitpicks that really stuck out to me. It was more like the the things I hate about Return of the Jedi are kind of in the grow stronger, you know, where I'm just like, okay, is there any sense to Luke's plan at Jabba's palace? No. Oh my God, this is disastrous. Like disastrous writing. Um, but I don't know. There's a lot of weird surprises. I'm surprised how often in the original trilogy the plot is our plan is X. Well, the Empire actually already knows your plan and is already prepared for your plan to fail. And it's like, okay, or any of the characters, right? Because like you think like they land on the Death Star, and it turns out they know that they're there, and they've put a tracker on them, and they've allowed them to escape.
Yeah, Vader senses Obi-Wan.
Right. So, okay, but that's also the plot of like when Leia goes into rescue Han, they already know that she's gone into rescue Han, and they're tricking her, and they're hiding behind the curtain, and they already know. As well as the fact that like when they go to attack the Death Star, they know that the rebels are coming, and it's going to be a trap, and they know that they're down on the planet to try to take down the shield, and they already know about all of that. Or the fact when they get to Cloud City, they already know that they're going to Cloud City because Boba Fett revealed that they'd gone into the trash, the floating trash. So it's amazing how like that struck me. I was like, huh, like Star Wars is so much of the Empire already knows what they're doing, but still the Empire fucks up. Like, yes, no revealed plan works. It's true. All right, man. I will talk to you soon. Thanks, everyone. See you next time.